Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to the weekly Reframe. Hopefully this is working. Let me see if I can see the comments here and people can let me know if anyone is there, if you can confirm that this is live now. And if not, I'll just start and people can watch on the replay. So welcome, good afternoon, and welcome to the weekly Reframe. I created this space for us to grow and for me to see you and hear you and share my approach. I came up with this format that I think is going to work, and I'm certainly loving it so far. I'm recording live from Barcelona. It's not a fake background, sorry. And the feedback that I received so far has been great as well. So feel free to share your thoughts in the comments during the live. And so we make it a little bit interactive as well. Let me just check if there are any comments. Okay. Last week I said I'd share the story behind the format that I chose, which is people send me questions and then I give my view here on the live. So this is the story. I didn't always know what my purpose was. In fact, for most of my adult life, it was tough connecting with that parts of me. But then last year, I lost my job, as many of you know. So I followed the breadcrumbs back to my childhood to try and identify the things I loved doing, the things that gave me energy. And I share this because I know this is a challenge that many people face. Finding their purpose feels truly like such a quest, and is becoming even a bit even toxic, let's say, because a lot of people talk about purpose and it feels like if you haven't found it, like you're not good. And this is not what it's about. So when I was 15 or 16, I was staying, while my friends were going out, I was staying in Friday nights. And there was this evening program on TV called I Hear You. And it was a psychologist taking calls from people who were struggling. So they would share their stories, their pain, their confusion, and she would listen. She would really listen and offer guidance. I remember being in bed already at 10 p.m., completely captivated by hearing these stories, hearing people's pain, and this compassionate woman sharing her empathy, and why not, some hope. While my peers were out having fun, I was lying awake, deeply moved by these stories. And I love the fact that a few words could offer them light. So this was the moment when I realized that my passion for human connection and understanding human behavior really began. But like many of us, I didn't follow my passion right away. Life happened and fear kept me in the so-called safe zone. Over the years, I had ideas, I had moments of clarity, I had energy, and I had a lot of light shining through. But then I kept silencing them, as many of you might identify. Until about a year ago, as I was saying before, losing my job, was truly a blessing in disguise, because it did invite me to look within again and say, if not now, when? When am I gonna really do what I love doing instead of staying in the pain of a safe job? Because I was really struggling in those jobs. So this is also for me, by sharing my experience, I hope that people can really connect with what they are going through. And hopefully give that hope as well. So yeah, this time last year, I did have that inner voice whispering, stop going down paths that are not really for you. And I felt it was like a quiet knowing, like a strong knowing that I couldn't keep living out of alignment. So for me, it was not only about wanting to help people and doing through doing what I love, but I felt like I really needed to. So I started my own business and finally started tuning into that passion that my teenage the teenage version of me showed me where that was, that passion. So here I am. Then tracing the 30 years after that confirm what I've always done, been passionate about, and became obsessed even with, which is personal growth and self-awareness. Just like that young girl in front of the TV, I still believe in the power of being heard and human connection. And I believe there's a lot of unnecessary suffering in our world, and that we can change that. But change really only starts with us, not the other person, not the job, not the government. So here we are. So thank you so much for being here, for trusting me, and for trusting yourselves. If you're here, it means that you want to try something different because what you're doing is no longer bringing the results you want, and it's probably causing you suffering. So, okay, I've had 3 questions for today, so let's get on to it. Question number 1. I'm struggling with a team member who is being very resistant to change, and it's creating tension in the project. It feels like there is no progress, and I feel like I can't intervene. I'd like to be more proactive, make better decisions, and take the right actions at the right time, rather than feeling stuck. So for this question, first of all, thank you so much for sharing what you're going through, and thanks for being courageous to being open to seeing this through a different perspective. It sounds really disempowering and debilitating, and I know for a fact, because of my background, that this happens very often in the workplace. So my view is that you're not suffering because this person is stubborn. You are suffering because you believe they shouldn't be stubborn. That belief that they should be different is clashing with reality, and it's creating a resistance. That is what's truly draining your energy and your momentum. What if this person is in your life, not to frustrate you, because many times we might feel like that, they are doing this to me, but to reveal where you're still holding on to the need for control, where you need others to be different so that you can feel okay. I'd like to invite you to do a little exercise. So close your eyes, and this can be for anyone that might be going through similar challenges, not necessarily in the workplace, but by feeling triggered by a person. Close your eyes, breathe deeply into your belly, and picture the situation where you're being triggered. Notice what feelings is this person triggering in you. What aspects of their behavior irritate you? Ask yourself, what does that behavior bring up in me? Do I feel unheard, unsupported, or name other things that might come up? What story are you telling yourself about what comes up? The invitation is to be judgment-free, because whatever comes up, even feelings but thoughts as well, it's about being a curious observer and not to try and punish the thoughts, like I shouldn't be thinking this. So let them come. Write them down. Write down everything that comes up, like you are emptying a container. This invitation is to free yourself and not them. Liberate yourself from the need for them to be different in order for you to feel empowered or at peace. So instead of asking, how do I change them? Ask, who would I be without the belief that they need to change? What becomes possible when I accept them as they are? From my own clarity instead of resistance. And this also includes accepting us for who we are right now, even if a little judgment comes up, accept it, because then otherwise we would be judging the part of us that judge ourselves, and that makes it a little bit more complicated. I personally wouldn't let my peace to be conditional on other people's cooperation, and I have certainly done that a lot since very young. So this is, I know, is very, very debilitating and harmful. Only once we have examined and released that internal narrative, that mental story that says that they are the problem, that they are keeping us stuck, that they need to change so we can feel better, only then things might start to shift. If not in them, certainly within you. Here another line of inquiry. Where in your younger years you felt like that? In what other dynamic in your life you felt or are feeling like that? Pinpoint exactly what part of this present experience reminds you of a time where you felt powerless. Once we apply self-awareness and healing of those parts of us, see what comes up, only then I would approach them and try and establish a connection with them. But I wouldn't do that until you've identified your internal narrative. Because if you approach someone while still holding on to resentment, frustration, or the need to fix them, your energy will show, and people feel energy more than they hear words. And that creates more resistance. Once you're free, then of the need for them to be different, then by all means connect deeply and honestly, not to try and change them, but to try and understand them. And maybe even invite a new possibility without attachment to the outcome, without an agenda, with compassion for everyone involved. You will realize that there's nothing to defend against and there's nothing to control. The other person will no longer need that pressure, and it will no longer resist you. I hope it helps, and let me know in the DMs. And thanks again for sharing. Now, question number 2. I feel stuck in old patterns of behavior. I want to act like the future version of myself, but I keep slipping into old ways. I want to stop clinging to old behaviors just to match what others expect of me. It's keeping me playing small in my business. Thank you so much for sharing. I acknowledge this is a difficult situation to be in. There is a bit more background that I have about these circumstances, but I'm going to embed them in the answer. It seems you're doing the work to embody an aligned identity. And of course, you feel the tension. You're stepping into this new version of yourself, but you're doing it in a space that still remembers the old you. So, and it's not even your own space. When you used to work for them, you were operating within their structure. Now you're building your own business, you're becoming the CEO of your own company, and that's a big energetic shift. And also that takes a lot of energy by itself, the fact that you're running your own business. But remember, people often take time to catch up with transformation, to catch up to your transformation. They'll keep relating to the version of you they knew because it was familiar to them, but not because your growth isn't happening, which is the part that we tend to doubt ourselves when we are in this middle. Your job is not to convince them of your new identity. Your job is to embody this new identity yourself. And I know you're doing and keep doing it. Anchor this new identity into your worth. Show up aligned with your new role as founder, as a CEO and visionary, because you are one. You have a vision for who you want to be, for who you want your company to be, and you are the one that needs to believe this first and foremost. You started to send out a different signal now to everyone, but not everyone will attune to it right away. But the ones who are meant to do it, they will. And it's your consistency in that identity that will do the work over time. Consistency is key. It's also okay to feel the discomfort of being underestimated, and I know that hurts, but don't let that be a sign that you are not ready, which is also like very easy to get to start doubting yourself. It's a sign that you are crossing the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. And if you can imagine, you know what a bridge feels like. It always feels a bit uncertain, right? So I would invite you to feel and inquire all the emotions that come up because they are messengers. And if you follow the path back to childhood as well, it will reveal where you might still be hurting. For example, where you expected to fill other people's needs and expectations. Ultimately, identity is not about how others see you, but about how you are seeing yourself. When people relate to the older version of you, especially in professional circles, it's incredibly easy to start questioning your worth, to question, who am I to step into this new role? Even with a bit of judgment. But that doubt doesn't mean you are on the wrong path. It means you are growing. I gave my take on imposter syndrome on a post this week. If anyone would like to check it out, it differs from the usual view. So I recommend you take a look, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And growth always brings resistance, especially from the parts of you that were once tied to external validation. I know this for a fact as well, like massively looking for external validation, confirmation, and the transition, it is that, like, you don't know who you're responding to anymore. When others don't, it's a helicopter. When others don't recognize your transformation, it can feel like judgment, but also watch out for self-judgment too. I think that's where it starts, really, in our inner voice. But what if it's actually an invitation to ground deeper into your self-worth, to embody your new identity, not just externally, but internally, where it truly counts? And here, a question for you. Are these people also moving into alignment, or they're still stuck in old patterns, perhaps even lying to themselves? Trying to prove your value to people who are in a different tune is hard when you are embodying the future you. And it takes accepting that not everyone will come with you on this journey. And are these really your people? Is my question. If they can't meet the version of you that you've worked so hard to become, maybe it's time to let them go. And when you do, you create space for aligned clients, partnerships, opportunities that do reflect your current frequency. So ground yourself, return to the vision, remind yourself why you started this. Ground yourself in not asking for permission, and remember that your only commitment is to yourself. Save your energy, protect your space. You might even need to surrender to feeling in limbo for a while until you define your new space. So trust my love, Surrendering is the one of the ultimately the one of the biggest acts, because it doesn't mean that you are resigning yourself, but you're like going through the transition with trust and knowing that you are safe and protected. Okay, and last one, the last 10 minutes, close family relationships that end up with no talking after a disagreement. This has been a pattern in my family of origin, and it continues today. I do not I do not like to be involved in conversations where the other person chooses not to be respectful, angry, or mean. When it was my daughter, it was very distressing. Now it's my brother, and it's sad. Let me just get a sip of water. Thank you so much for sharing. I truly acknowledge this is a very vulnerable share, and I value the courage to even want to see your part in this pattern. So I would like to ask you, what in you still needs the relationship to be a certain way in order for you to feel whole, seen, or safe? The pain is not caused by the person not talking, but by the belief that it shouldn't be happening. What are they reinforcing? That your values don't matter, perhaps? Maybe let's explore that a little bit more. Does the discomfort stem from the expectation that others should be respectful, reciprocal, or open? Reality is what it is, and fighting reality is what causes suffering. Freedom lives in letting go of the need for things to be a certain way. Freedom comes when we no longer need others to change for us to be at peace. So my question is, who would you be if you didn't need your brother to respond in order to feel okay? I believe also patterns repeat until we heal the inner roots. So these situations that keep repeating are not happening to punish you. And I do believe in that, not believe, but I do resonate with that. What have I done, to deserve this? Why does it keep happening? I believe they are opportunities to heal deep inherited scripts about belonging, rejection, or conflict. Is it possible that in your family of origin, there was emotional withdrawal as a way to express pain or assert control, and in such a way that it became familiar? Let me tell you, boundaries and love can coexist. You can lovingly choose not to be around disrespect or anger, and please stop that. You are already doing it, but you don't need to carry guilt or sadness when someone withdraws, because you're not responsible for their emotional maturity. So let's try and reframe the goal. The goal is not to fix the relationship, it's to liberate yourself from the weight of needing it to be different. Healing happens when you recognize, I am whole even when others aren't available. So here's my invitation. Can you let others be exactly who they are and still choose to love them from a place of wholeness, not from need? Can you set yourself free even if they choose to stay in their own prison? Now let me address the parent-child situation. The pain of disconnection with a child is one of the deepest any parent can feel. And as a man myself, I know that. I also experience it. But what if the child's reaction, whether anger, withdrawal, or silence, isn't a rejection of you, but a reflection of something unresolved within you? Children are mirrors, not judges. Children come to show us our unconscious wounds, not to punish us, but to set us free. I wholeheartedly believe this. Whether young or adult, their behaviors often poke the parts of us that never got seen, heard, or accepted. A child's silence or anger might be triggering your own unmet need for connection, approval, or feeling like a good enough parent. Spiritually speaking, I believe the soul contracts we have with our children are very profound because they often carry the role of slapping us to wake us up. And it does feel like that. It's hard to stay grounded and patient and present when the slapping happens, but it's beautiful when we see it in this way. Their tantrums, whether emotional or silent, are invitations to return to ourselves, reparent that inner child of ours, and create space for a new kind of relationship. From a psychology or neuroscience point of view, our nervous system doesn't know the difference between a child's disconnection and early childhood abandonment. That's why it hurts so deeply, because it's not about the present moment, it's not about the now. Emotional maturity means we pause and ask, what parts of me is being triggered before reacting or overreaching? I believe true freedom is loving your daughter unconditionally, even if she's not talking to you. That's love without an agenda. So I would encourage you to keep reaching out if it's true to you, but not from a place of fear or need, from a place of love that says, I am whole and I trust your path. Your daughter's silence may be as well her own process. So because we have our process, but also we are watching for their process. That's our responsibility as parents, to allow for their beautiful soul to thrive, not to lead them to go our way or a way that is comfortable for us. Children need space to find themselves. Your calm presence and unconditional love, even in silence, can be the most powerful anchor you can offer. It might feel that your daughter is breaking your heart, but not to hurt you. Maybe she's just trying to crack it open by inviting you to choose love over fear, real love that starts with you, to invite you into the deepest healing of all, the one where you realize that you are lovable and worthy, even when she's not ready to connect. That's the kind of love that transforms generations. And lastly, I would like to say, when patterns repeat across relationships, both your daughter and brother showing distance and silence might be mirroring a deeper inner place that needs attention. So beyond accepting the situation and letting go of judgment and control, I would gently ask, what deeper parts of me is being triggered here? What old story or belief about myself might still be running this pattern? Can you be truly okay with being whole and complete, even when this old wound shows up? This process is about going beyond surface acceptance into true self-awareness and healing. It's the difference between I am broken because they don't talk to me or things are wrong, and I am whole even though this is happening. And this shows me where I still hold pain. When we meet that wound with compassion for ourselves and others, rather than resistance, the pattern can begin to dissolve. Much love to you. I see you and I hear you and I love you because I know who you are and I know how hard this feels. Thank you. I just noticed there is a comment. Thank you. So it's working. Thank you. Love it. Thanks for sharing your story. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and learning together at the nice agile community. Thank you so much, Sarah. Right. So thank you so much. I'm glad it worked because I couldn't see anyone before. And I was just going, trusting that it was recording fine, you can hear me okay. So thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. Honestly, I love these lives. And thank you until next week. And if you go on the links I'm going to put in the comments. You can see links for the form to leave your questions and other links. So thank you so much. Have a lovely weekend. Bye. Bye-bye.